Okay, our unit portrays the 5th Motorized Company of the Grossdeutschland Division. The Grossdeutschland Division was one of the elite divisions in the German Army. You could tell an elite division in the German Army because they were given cuff titles. My cuff title signifies Grossdeutschland in Old Germanic script. To have been a member of this unit, you would have had to have been born in one of the original 13 provinces of Germany. It was the only division in the German Army that was raised from the entire country of Germany. My rank is Feldwebel. That literally translates field mother. I'm equivalent to a sergeant in the American Army. You can tell my rank by the silver Litzen on my collar and on my shoulder straps. Our uniforms here are a combination of both early and late war uniforms. By June of '44, the Allied bombing was starting to take effect and diminish Germany's production capabilities, and you can see how the uniform changed as a result of this. I'm wearing a uniform that was typical of what the German army looked like when they marched into Poland in September of 1939. It had slate gray pants, it had pleated pockets, it had the green collar. Okay, as the war went on, they started simplifying the construction of their tunics here. Let me find one here. They got rid of the pleated pockets, they went with the green pants. They even could not keep up with the production of leather on the jack boots, so they started going to low boots like the other Allied armies. Prior to the war, the German army actually did focus groups with women to help them design their uniforms. They wanted something that looked snappy and sexy and not as utilitarian as some of the Allied armies.
And I think it works on Rich, doesn't it?
Of course, yeah. So there was a second reason also for that, is the German armies did not have dress uniforms. Their combat uniform was their dress uniforms, where the Allies actually had, what do they call them, Class A uniforms, or their dress uniforms. So as a result, the German army wore all its combat decorations on their combat uniforms. You see I have some, and some of the other guys here. This one, I'll explain right here. What he is wearing here is several medals. This is called the Iron Cross Second Class, the Iron Cross First Class, the Infantry Assault badge, which means he was involved in 5 engagements as an infantryman. This is the Russian Front Medal. That meant he fought on the Russian front. The German soldiers called it the Frozen Meat Medal, okay, because it was so cold on the Russian front. The reason the German army felt that they could still get by with bolt-action rifles was because they developed very high rate of fire machine guns. Okay, a typical German squad consisted of 10 men and 1 machine gun. We have a second machine gun because we felt by this time in the war we realized that we need as much firepower as we could get, especially up against the very advanced equipment of the American Army. Their rate of fire on this machine gun was between 12 and 1,800 rounds a minute. That's like 3 rounds a second. Okay, so every 10 men in the German army had 1 machine gun. Conversely, in the American army, since they were putting the firepower in the individual soldiers' hands, they didn't feel they needed as many machine guns. Their machine gun was considered a company level weapon. So every company of about 100 men had 1 machine gun. So the Americans were coming up against 10 times as many machine guns, they had a rate of fire of 3 times their own machine guns. So this was a very difficult problem for them to overcome, but they did it through their superior artillery and air power.